Shooting it raw?
Yes, shooting it raw.
Photography for me, I think is more like, it was first like souvenir, because I remember when I traveled around the world, it was in 2002, I still had my dad's film camera, and it was like, you had to really be careful on which photo you were taking, studying the lights, and trying to get the best shot, and you never know anything before you actually develop the film and then see everything. So for me, first it was souvenirs that you could look at again, and then as soon as there was the digital thing and everything with pixels and no more photo on paper, then it became more a tool to learn more about photography, because you can test so many different settings, and then a tool for work, because you can show to everyone what's happening in your area and what you're struggling with or your successes.
Delphine, Robbe, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast. We're just going to learn about you and talk about the photographs and the kind of work you're doing, because personally, if people listen to the podcast, we're at episode 48, but generally about 25% or 1/4 of the people are from the world of conservation. Because I was really involved in marine conservation, I'm really tied to that. And so the oceans, the seas, water, protection, all of these things are very, very important to me. We got connected, but we've never met.
Yeah, well, thank you for inviting me.
It's a real pleasure. It's a real honor. And before we dive into the photograph, where are you right now? What surrounds you?
I'm at home, and I'm I'm downstairs, and so I can see my garden around, which is a like community land with some of my mates, but they're not here because of COVID. So I'm looking at trees and flowers, and I've got 42 coconut trees on the land. And because I just fed the horses, they're not in front of me, but otherwise they will pass by. So I'm in Gili Trawangan, which is in Indonesia, west of Lombok. Beautiful small island, only 7 kilometers around, and very quiet at the moment. So we're enjoying, but we're also struggling with no income.
Wow. By the miracle of online calls and all that stuff, we're able to talk. And I said to you, would you like to join me on the podcast? You sent me photographs, and they're very powerful. And so it's a podcast. So it's kind of a funny way to introduce visual photographs, but the photographs are really just anchors or departure points. And who knows where we end up. The first image that I'll describe for people is it's really powerful. It's really surprising. When I opened the email and I saw it, I was looking at it, and when your brain sees something that it's not used to. Okay, obviously you, Delphine, are used to it.
Yeah.
You're in the photograph, but for me, it's like, okay, I'm looking at something that I've never seen before, and it's beautiful, and it's haunting, and it's stunning, and it's called aqua yoga. And so I can describe for the people. Okay, so you know how for people who, if you've ever looked in a pool and you've looked up at the surface of the water, it'll reflect the light coming from the bottom. But in this case, almost not full, but half of the image is the reflection of the surface of the water from underwater, and the image is upside down. And in it, you're in your bathing suit. You're not wearing a snorkel. So there are just a few tiny bubbles coming out of your nose, maybe. You wouldn't be upside down underwater, even though in the photograph, it's like you're in a funny position. Your body is in this really incredible position or pose, 95% of the image is this deep, beautiful blue from the ocean or sea. Why don't you tell us a story about this photograph? Because it's mind blowing. It's so beautiful.
Thank you. Well, the photographer is really good. That comes from my friend. He's like my brother. So his name is Fouad Kadashi, and he's a photographer. He still does that. He's a diver and photographer. So we used to live together on Gili Trawangan, and he always had ideas about which photos we were going to do. And he's also passionate with woman body. So we did quite lots of shoot for ads in the water for like jewelry and clothes. So he always plays with the reflection of the water. But then he started to challenge himself and me at the same time that, oh, we're going to do yoga, but you're going to have yoga posture, but you're going to have to be just below the water. It's like I'm carrying the water. So then when he puts the photo upside down, so we did, I don't know how many hours of footage in the pool and then in the sea, but in the pool you get, the light is totally different because it reflects on the sides of the pool and the bottom of the pool. So it was just to practice the position, the pose that I will need to get, and how much air I will need to get out of my lungs to be just below the surface, like I'm touching it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then we practice in the sea. And for him, it was just to build like a book, to be able to say, like, I can do that kind of pictures and to try to get contracts for other things. So, so yeah, that's his work, but it was quite a lot of fun to practice underwater. And yeah, it was like hours of doing it, and then I loved the result. Obviously, it was like, and him too. Then he tried to do it with some models, so people with like maybe better body than me, but it didn't work because either they were scared of the water, or they wouldn't find out how much they will actually need to empty their lungs off to be able to just be below the water. Not comfortable going down with only half full lungs, or too fat and floating, so never go down.
First of all, it's so striking because for him, he really created this unbelievably powerful image. It's just eye candy, and it's just beautiful to look at. And yeah, it could be something that you would have in your house. I think the second guest that I had on Shooting It Raw, or the third guest that I had on Shooting It Raw, she made life-size paintings of girls diving in the water, and you should go check those out because the images are nudes, and here it's a semi-nude, but there's just this freedom and this beauty and this light and contour. It's so powerful, and just on an aesthetic level. And I'm sure you've used it as a tool, or maybe not, I don't know, but you could use this as a tool to raise people's awareness and passion around the oceans. Did I lose you? Are you there?
Yeah, I'm still there. Just cut a bit, but it's okay. Yeah, so I think when we were talking about what kind of photos we were going to do with underwater yoga or aqua yoga, it was really to try to give the message of like how, all yoga, it's always about grounding and feel connected with the earth and blah, blah. And my therapist will always tell me, yeah, but you can't ground because you're always swimming and your legs are always up. You always sit in crossed legs and never touching the floor and things like this. And she's like, yeah, but because you're always swimming. Anyway, the picture, it was really to show that yoga can be done everywhere. And I think one of the best medium is actually the water, because your whole body is connected. You have like support. It's not only from your feet or your head or your hands with the gravity when you're on land, But in the water, it's so dense that you just melt with the medium, you know, it's just like,
Yeah.
oh, and then the water is supporting you, and then everything feels lighter, you know, your body feels lighter in the water. And I think my thoughts and my stress are the same. Like every time I go check the reef or just snorkeling with my son or things like this, it's just and it's not because it's silent, because underwater is so noisy, but it's just because it just feels straight away like relax, and my whole body is supported. Like I can really feel the connection to the earth when I'm in the water, because the earth is there supporting me. And yeah, so I think that's what we wanted to give as a message, as a go in the water. There's no fear to have, and then trying to get into protecting it.
Sure. This image really works as as basically as beautiful photography. So it doesn't necessarily need to have a message. We don't have to try to force to squeeze one into there. It's just, I mean, if you're listening to this and you have a moment and you want to see something really beautiful, check out the website and check it out. It's just a stunning image. How about we go to the next photo?
Sure.
So is life really a gift? Really? Can you make every second count? That's the whole point of the podcast. So if you like what you've seen and you're inspired, because that really is my mission, then please give it a like, subscribe, and share.
Shooting it raw?
Yes, shooting it raw.